I can't do this anymore.
What are you talking about?
The air in the kitchen felt heavy, thick with the scent of scorched coffee and unspoken words, as I stared at the text on my phone. Meet me at the pier tonight. 11. Don't tell him. My heart lurched, a traitor in my chest, pounding against ribs that suddenly felt too tight. The message was from Ethan, my husband brother, and it wasn't the first. I deleted it, my thumb trembling, as if erasing the words had erased the gnawing guilt that had been festering for weeks. The clock ticked too loudly, each second a hammer against my resolve, and I wondered how a single joke, "I'd pick Ethan over you any day, babe," had unraveled my marriage into the suffocating tangle of secrets. The house was quiet, save for the distant hum of the AC and the occasional creak of the old wooden floors. Matt, my husband, was upstairs, probably lost in his spreadsheets, oblivious to the storm brewing in my mind. I stood at the counter, gripping the edge until my knuckles whitened, replaying the moment 3 months ago when I'd laughed off that careless quip at a family barbecue. Ethan had smirked, his eyes lingering a beat too long, and Matt had chuckled, but his jaw had tightened, a subtle crack in his usual warmth. I brushed it off as jealousy, maybe even flattery. But now, with Ethan's late-night texts and stolen glances piling up like kindling, I couldn't ignore the spark. I poured cold coffee into the sink, watching it swell down the drain like my certainty. Had I meant the joke? No. Yes? Ethan was different, wilder, less predictable than Matt's steady reliability. He'd always been the charming one, the one who made my pulse quicken with a single raised eyebrow. But I loved Matt. Didn't I? The question clawed at me, raw and relentless, as I tried to piece together when admiration had slipped into something dangerous. The first warning had come weeks ago, at Ethan's apartment. I'd stopped by to drop off a book he'd lent me, a dog-eared copy of The Great Gatsby. He'd poured wine, his fingers brushing mine as he handed me the glass. "You deserve more than a guy who lives for numbers," he'd said, his voice low, teasing, but laced with something heavier. I'd laughed, deflected, but my cheeks burned, and I left too quickly, the weight of his gaze trailing me to the car. I told myself it was nothing, just Ethan being Ethan. But then the text started, innocent at first, then bolder, each one a pebble in the still waters of my marriage. Now, standing in the dim kitchen, I heard Matt's footsteps on the stairs. My stomach twisted. I shoved the phone into my pocket, the screen's glow a silent accusation. "You okay, Sarah?" he asked, his voice soft but edged with something I couldn't place. He leaned against the doorway, his dark hair mussed, his glasses slightly askew. He looked tired, vulnerable, and my chest ached with a love I wasn't sure I deserved to feel. "Yeah, just restless," I said, forcing a smile. The lie tasted bitter, but the truth was worse. How could I tell him I was drowning in doubt, caught between loyalty and a reckless pull I didn't fully understand? "Work's been rough," I added, hoping the half-truth would mask the tremor in my voice. He nodded, his eyes searching mine. "You've been off lately. Distant." His words were gentle, but they landed like blows. I wanted to scream that it wasn't true, that I was still his, but the phone in my pocket burned against my thigh, a reminder of the line I hadn't crossed but hadn't stepped back from either. "I'm fine," I said too quickly. He didn't move, just watched me, and the silence stretched taut, a wire ready to snap. I turned away, busying myself with wiping the already clean counter, my heart racing. Did he know? Had he seen the way Ethan looked at me, the way I hadn't looked away? The next morning, I woke to an empty bed. Matt's side was cold, the sheets undisturbed. Panic flared, sharp and sour, as I stumbled downstairs. His briefcase was gone, his car absent from the driveway. A note on the fridge read, "At the office. We need to talk tonight." My knees buckled. The words were innocuous, but their weight crushed me. Matt never left without a kiss, a touch, a "love you." This wasn't him. The day dragged, each hour a slow drip of dread. I tried to focus on Wake, but my mind spun, replaying every moment I'd rationalize away. Ethan's hand lingering on my arm, the late-night calls I'd taken in the bathroom, whispering so Matt wouldn't hear. I told myself it was harmless, just a flirtation to spice up the monotony of routine. But now, With Matt's note searing my thoughts, I saw it for what it was. Betrayal, even if I hadn't acted on it. The guilt was a living thing, coiling tighter with every breath. When Matt came home, the air was different, charged, like the moments before a storm. He set his keys down with deliberate care, his face unreadable. "Sarah," he said, his voice low, "I found the texts." My heart stopped. The room tilted, the edges blurring as I gripped the arm of the couch. "I went through your phone last night," he continued, his eyes dark with pain. "I didn't want to, but you've been different. I had to know." I opened my mouth, but no words came. Denial felt futile, excuses hollow. "It's not what you think." I managed, my voice cracking. "I didn't do anything." "But you wanted to," he said, and the truth in his words sliced through me. He stepped closer, his hands trembling. "You let him in. You let him think he had a chance." His voice broke, and I saw the man I loved fracturing before me, his trust in me crumbling like ash. "I'm sorry," I whispered, tears spilling over. "It was a mistake. I didn't mean for it to go this far." But even as I spoke, I saw Ethan's face, felt the pull of his reckless energy, and hated myself for it. Matt's jaw clenched, his eyes glistening. "I filed for divorce this morning," he said, and the world fell silent. The words were a gunshot, final and irrevocable. "I can't live wondering if you're choosing me or him. I won't." The room spun, the walls closing in. I reached for him, but he stepped back, the distance between us a chasm I'd carved myself. "Matt, please," I begged, but he was already turning away, his shoulders hunched as if shielding himself from me. That night, alone in our bed, I stared at the ceiling, the weight of my choices suffocating. The phone buzzed, Ethan's name lighting up the screen. I didn't answer. Instead, I saw Matt's face, the love we'd built over years, now shattered by a joke that wasn't a joke, by a betrayal I hadn't fully committed but hadn't stopped. And in that moment, I realized the twist. The real infidelity wasn't with Ethan. It was with myself. My failure to confront my own desires, my cowardice in letting them fester until they destroyed the one thing I couldn't bear to lose.